Hello everyone and welcome to a new tutorial for AE Tuts Plus. My name is Ren. I will be showing you how to make this video where you have fire and you can composite it onto an object, such as in my case an arm, and have a realistic heat haze effect going on in the background, making it to where it's, in what my opinion is, a more realistic fire burn than you would normally get without it. I feel it's pretty convincing, so I think it's worth checking out. What I used is Action Essentials 2 from Video Copilot. It's got a lot of good high-definition video stock footage, but you're not limited to that. You can use fire from detonationfilms.com, for instance, or you can even go out and film it yourself. You know, just go camping, grab a log and burn it, and then film it. Yeah, that's how the pros do it, I guess. So, let's take a look. Alright, so here's the video that I will show you how to make. As you can see, I composited the fire onto my friend Natalie's arm. This would be a lot simpler if you had an inanimate object that you could attach it to, because then there's no animation, like keyframing position and rotation and whatnot, so you just do it once and you're good. But I'll show you what I did. As you can see, the arm is also bright and it flickers, because I used the levels feature to make everything but her arm dark, because fortunately her arm was just completely bright. Here's the fire that I made into one comp. I used all the different fires and whatnot, like that and that. So let's go ahead and show you how I did that. Let's start a new composition, rather new project completely. Got the footage already pre-selected. Drag it in. I only used 5 different fire elements. You can get away with that pretty easily. You can duplicate a couple and offset the time to make it look different. Go ahead and drop that in the composition. And go ahead and hit the 8 BPC and change the 8 to 16. And then change the working space to sRGB. This will just give you a more accurate representation of what fire will look like if you select this one, the linearized working space. So I'll show you real quick. Let's pull out some fire. And what will happen is that when you select add, it's not going to be as blown out and whatnot. So it's, like I said, much more accurate. Go ahead and delete that. And that reminds me, I need to change, because it's 1080p video that I'm working with. So I'm just going to go ahead and change it to 720p. It's much easier and quicker to work with. So let's change the scale, because I want to fill it in. The great thing about 1080p to 720p is that you could, work with it, select parts of the video that you don't want, and etc. But if you type 66.66, it'll round up to 66.7, which is exactly the percentage size 1080p is to 720p. Other way around, So yeah, let's go ahead and start by dragging out the fire at cam 7, because, actually no, before that let's select footage you want to use. Alright, gonna start right there, select the other one. Left bracket, alt left bracket to clip it, and about right there, alt right bracket. I did several takes and this was the only take I liked. So yeah. So this is all gonna be converted into essentially a heat haze effect, so you won't actually see any fire. So let's go ahead and hit Effect, Channel Color Correction, and go to Tint. This will make it black and white, and then go to Effect and Channel this time, and then Invert. It'll make it a little brighter. Alright, so select your footage and go ahead and hit Effects, Distort, and Displacement Map. We're going to use Mesh Warp with the fire, but for now we'll use Displacement Map. So select your footage in this one, then change to alpha for your channels, both left and right, or horizontal and vertical. And then for Displacement Map, go to Stretch Map to Fit. And that will, if you edit it, change everything. And we don't want it to change everything, so what we'll do is take our fire and we'll pre-comp it. So if you hold down Control Shift and C, that'll pre-comp it, but you could also go to Layer and down to Pre-Compose at the very bottom. And go ahead and move everything. You could rename it Heat Haze if you want. And voila, there you go. You also notice the black bars that you get when you do that. That's just part of the effect. Not really much you can do about it. One thing you can do is select your footage and just move it. But as we're going to actually keyframe the amount of displacement we have from, because I like to make the charging up kind of effect, like you're heating up as just before you burst into flames, it'll offset the position. What I did was I just hit scale and I changed it to like 70%, but that's because I'm working with 1080p footage and I can do that. 50 is a lot more than I ever did. I only went up to 30, which was almost enough. So yeah, that's one thing you can do. So once you do that, you gotta go ahead and I'm gonna trim my comp here a little bit. Hit B and N to move the brackets. I like shortcuts. All right. So here, just gonna go ahead and select the stopwatch for both of those. Have them at 0. And you may be wondering why I hit -30 instead of +30, because negative makes it go up, whereas positive makes it go down, and heat rises. Rather, heated air rises. Thermodynamics. Okay, so go to where just before you, in my effect, burst, which is like right here, the max of the charging up. To mark where that is, I hit the asterisk to put a little note point there, and then burst, which is that frame. Put another one. So you have your kind of frame of reference here. I hit U to bring up all my keyframes. So right here, I'll just bump it up to 5. And you want to make it subtle. You don't want to make it extremely obvious that you did it, because then it kind of kills the effect. So I just went ahead and did, like, I think, let's go to 10. Because if you barely notice it, you'll still subconsciously notice it, and it'll make it more convincing. And then right there, I instantly went to 20. Go ahead and make that 10, because now you're on fire. And right here, I plan on making the fire travel down the arm, so I'll put like -30 right there. So now we'll have the actual heat for when everything is really hot. Alright, so that should be enough for that. We can go ahead and pull in our fire. Start off with our charge. Let's go back to our charge point right there and bring in the charge. And this is essentially just going to be like a blast. You can do it however you want. I like this because it feels more like an ignition kind of thing. So I like to start a little bit more into it, about right here. And Action Essentials 2, there's a large selection of these, so you could use whichever one you want. This is the one I preferred. Indeed. So kind of select it right here, where it feels like it's just kind of hovering there, like pyrokinetics. Cool. That is the easy part. That one, you can go ahead and change it to add right now if you want, but what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to select all of them and put them in a pre-comp itself and select that to add. So, for now, I'll leave it on add for now. It doesn't matter too much. It'll override it if I pre-comp it. So, let's bring out Fire 4. I'm using this one for the top of her arm. Hold down the W button to rotate. And essentially, I'm just going to put this right on top of her arm. I'm going to select Fire 5 and put that on the bottom of her arm. And I may duplicate it to kind of fill in a little bit of the middle, but being on the edges, it's more distinct that there's fire there. And then I'm going to take the torch element, and I'm going to put it on her hand. So that that'll make more of, like, that's the center of where most of the energy is going. I don't know. I should probably just stick to telling how to do this technically. At any rate, go ahead and get the best you can. 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 Get the best you can go ahead and turn off the effect so you can more accurately. Oops. Control Z to undo that. Hopefully you understand that much. Just kind of roughly place it where you think it should go. Go ahead and change the scale if you don't like the scale. Hold down Shift to make it scale evenly. Alright, so I like it pretty much about right there. So now, with your fire selected, go to Effect and... what am I looking for? Alright, Distort, Mesh Warp. Here we go. And what makes this awesome is that you can warp it around however you like. You can put this way over here, put this way down here, and of course, you know, that totally looks amazing. But my point is that to use it correctly, you can just kind of bend it to your own will, if you will. But you want to make this vertical, because fire still floats up, if fire floats. You know what I mean? So, make these parallel to the vertical axis. It doesn't matter too much whether you have the little elbows bending the right way. You can, like that. But as long as you have the general area down, be alright. And we're going to animate this as well. Probably not this one specifically too much, because it's on the top and there isn't a distinct edge, it's just kind of flame on top. But I do want to move that. Alright, so go ahead and hit Distort Mesh, the stopwatch for it. Oops. Yeah, so go ahead and... because that's only going to pop up right there. So, bam, fire. And we'll animate it to where it travels down the arm. So, click on your... hit P to bring up position, and Shift R to also bring up rotation. Click the stopwatch on both of those, and you should be good. So hit U to reveal all your keyframes. Go ahead and go down just a couple frames, because it'll move significantly. Give myself a better working space. Page down a couple times. Again. Alright. See, now I want to change the mesh a little bit. I want to move this up. It's not important that you have it exactly on, just enough to cover it. Like right here. It's going over a little bit. So I'll just bring that down. Sweet. So now you could actually skip more time. Go to like a half second later. See how it rotated slightly there? Go ahead and, if you hit the rotation tool, you could rotate it. But I don't want to rotate it about the center where I have the thing. So hit the pan behind button, and you can do this. Okay, maybe not. I should have done that first. I'll do it on the next fire. It's not too big of a deal. You just have to hit V to bring back that, animate a little better. So another half second down. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and do this for the rest of the video, so I'll cut it out. Alright, so I went ahead and did that, and I'm probably going to do that again for the other fires as well, because it's really laborious setting keyframes and whatnot. It's just rotoscoping. So go ahead and drag Fire 5 out. Cool thing about Fire 5 is that it really ignites up. Let's go ahead and solo it to show you. As you can see, he's spraying some fuel onto it, but I'm going to go ahead and select it right about there because it doesn't fit the direction that I'm going for right now. So yeah. Yeah, about right there. Alt left bracket and pull it up to the ignition part. Alright, so unsolo that. Go to the front. Hit P, Shift R, and Effect. It's already there, mesh warp. Okay, so set a keyframe in all these, and then edit your footage. Go ahead and turn off Fire 4. Actually, you're going to want Fire 5 on top of it, because it's from the bottom, and it looks better if it is on top. Because you don't want to have the edge of the other fire just randomly floating on top of the other one, because this one is a lot bigger. Alright, move the scale down. I don't like how there's all this edge going on, so I'm going to go ahead and grab a mask and just kind of cut across and over. Cool. So hit F to bring up your mask. Put it at like 20. Yeah. 15 to 20 is the magic featherness for fire, because it's just enough that it's obviously not cut, and it's enough that it's not obvious that it was cut, if that makes sense. Or obvious that it was feathered, I should say. So yeah, let's hit V to bring back your selection tool, and hold down W to rotate. Like I said, I like my keyboard shortcuts. And we're going to put this on the bottom. Okay, here's what I meant. Grab your pan behind tool and grab the center point and put it at the elbow, or the point of movement, or hinging. Hit V again and hold on W, and now you can rotate it around the axis point. It's kind of nifty. So kind of get that there-ish. And now for the mesh warp, go ahead and hit U to bring up everything. Mesh warp. I want this down, because here you really do kind of want an edge. So having a nice little edge like this will help significantly. Don't want it too crushed. So yeah. For the most part, that's pretty good. It's not too bad. Sweet. Alright, yeah, so now I'm just going to go through, and as the arm moves, it's fairly straightforward. Just make it stick to the arm. You can do this by tracking if you want. I didn't have any tracking markers put on, and I didn't really feel like tracking it. I don't know. It's not too hard to just go ahead and change it every few frames or whatever. So I will go do that. Be back in a moment. Got that one out of the way. So now with both of these on, it'll look more like that. And what I'm going to do here is I'm probably just going to duplicate this Fire 5. So I'll hit Control D to duplicate it, and yeah, it'll get brighter. Take the bottom one and just push it up, and I like to not that. There we go. Kinda. It'll look like it's rotating, and that's because I have the center point way down here. So I don't want it that much. Just a little bit. Oh, yeah, we don't want to move the position either. So I'll go ahead and delete that position one. We want to move the anchor point, because that will save the information on, you know, where the fire actually is. So if we hit U again, we could bring up, catch all these, and just move the footage over, so it is not the same sort of fire, yet a different time. And of course, how much or how less you want to do of that is up to you. I did it that much. Right, so we have one more fire thing to do. Let's do, where'd it go? Yes, this one. This one I'm also probably going to end up duplicating as well. This can go under the... Actually, no, this can go on top. So, make a mask, double click on it. First off, let's solo it. As you can see, I'm just going to, because you have the little round mark of what was actually on fire, but since what I want to be on fire is flat, you know, the palm of her hand, I'll just do this. Hit F. Actually, let's bring up the whole mask. 15. And now I can position it, so let's take it off solo. Let's just turn the others off. Position it about there-ish. We'll duplicate it to fill out about right here as well. So, we won't really need to do rotation too much because it's just, you know, a big vertical fire, but we'll move the position around. So I'll go ahead and do that real quick. Alright. Resume. Okay. So, now that I've, you know, keyframed the position a little bit, it's just a simple matter of dragging, then hitting page down a few times. I'm going to duplicate it and offset the time again. And also the anchor point. So I'll shift it over to the right. I guess we could rotate it a little bit. Yeah, about there. And hit U so we can drag it. Select all your keyframes and drag them over front right here. Sweet. Awesome. So we should be pretty much good with, oh, actually, no, I take that back. We're going to need to, let's go ahead and pre-comp both of these so I don't have to make a separate thing for both of them. Torch. Sure. Make a double click on the mask tool, and we're going to animate this. So here at the beginning, when everything bursts, it's going to have this like here-ish. Grab the top and pull that down to about right there. Just enough that you can still grab it, you know? So you can hit MM to bring it all up. Go ahead and hit path, and I'm going to put the feather at about 15. And just close it out more. Alright, so then we're going to go down about 5-ish frames, or about half second. It's more like 12. Cool. And move that back down. So now what we essentially just had is the fire rising. And it happens so fast you can't exactly see, like, this line that happens. But maybe. We shall see. But combined with all the other fires, go ahead and pre-comp both of these. Control-Shift-C. I like to call it bottom fire, question mark. Yeah, we gotta turn them on first. It's not that those are on. Wow, these are really offset. Nah. Let's go ahead and just move that whole thing over. About right there. That'd be good. Actually, move it down. It's already, for the most part, tracked to the hand. I did it by hand. The bottom fire, I will make a crazy little mask. And, you know, that's all just kind of done impromptu style, whatnot. Right. But yeah. I'm sure you can come up with better ways of doing it than that. Put it at like 25-ish. Nah, let's put it back down to 20. Maybe I'm just saying that because this is really blocky right here. But, basically, where'd it go? Let's go to the beginning and keyframe the path. So we'll just move the entire thing off like this. And then about right there, just move it full-ish. Ah, hey. Sweet. So we've got those two, and Fire on 4 you could do the same thing. Turn it on, turn the others off. Just make a little animation thing. Make sure it's at 20. You could actually move the thing over to what you eventually want it as, and then make your own. Do that. So what we end up with after all of that is charge, go ahead and unselect it, that travels down the arm. Oof. Cool. I'll go ahead and render it. Let's turn the displacement map heat haze effect back on. And let's render it. Okay, as you can see, I forgot a couple things. First of which is that the heat haze effect, I didn't animate the mask that I made, so it just kind of stays there as her arm goes up. I'll go back and fix that in a moment. And I knew at the time I didn't hit add on the fire yet. I was just testing it out. So of course it doesn't look that good at all right now. But I don't like the placement of some of the fire, so I'll go back and just kind of change that. So let's, like the torch for instance, I did like that better up here. That was much better served to be there. And I can go ahead and change the scale too. I want it to be bigger. If we go into the torch, I want the other one to be over again, so I hit the anchor point and just kind of move it more. Those kind of touches you get and notice when I like the bottom fire to be a little higher as well. Actually no, it's already pre-comp, so I can just move the entire position, but this seems a little easier to do. Alright, that should be good for the fire, so go ahead and select all your fire. And Control-Shift-C to pre-comp it. You can go ahead and just call it fire. And then hit add. So now that you've got that, I'll go back and fix the... Turn it off, actually. Hit M. Nope. Oh, so I didn't even make a mask? Kidding me. Coast. Alright, and since I made the mask on the actual footage itself, I can just... I need to animate that, so I should have had this done in the first place. Copy it, copy the footage, and just use it as a thing in the back. Let's say. Alright. And I'll just delete it when I get to it. Alright, so now that I've animated the mask, it wasn't too bad. I just kind of followed the arm and whatnot. This makes it so that you're not moving the entire fire. It's just, the heat's already there. It's hot air. It's not moving with your arm. It's, you know, there. I don't know how else to explain it. But anyway, now that I've done that, it should be a lot more convincing now. So it really looks like it's just radiating from the hand. But okay, so one last thing I'll do is one of the last things I'll do is I'm going to make her arm brighter. So, about right there. Go ahead and duplicate your footage. actually first you want to get rid of the footage you got here because it's a matte. Alright, there we go. That looks a lot better. Control Alt, no, just regular Alt left bracket. And here, go ahead and leave the displacement map. It'll accurately, because if you turn it off, yeah, you won't have the effects you need. So go to color correction, go to levels. I lucked out and I have a really bright arm and everything else is kind of dark. So, you know, brighten up like that. Make it brighter. Because your aim is to make it kind of black and white. Bring the darkness down a little bit. And then I'm going to grab color key. So go effect down to keying and then color key. I'll just take that color. Tolerance. Yeah, let's go ahead and pre-comp this. So Control Shift C. Yes. Actually, let's rename this matte. Cool. Double click on it. Let's put I think we need one more for the color key. Yes, no, maybe so. Yeah, let's put that at 0. Essentially, yeah, that'll work good enough. Go ahead and go to Effect, Color Correction, and Tint. Make it black and white. Then I like to add one more levels to make it brighter. So now what you're going to do is you're going to add a new layer. Just a regular solid. And you want to add an orange layer. So yeah, that's good enough. Okay. Put that to the bottom and under track matte, put Luma matte. There we go. So everything will just show up as that. Go back to your footage and now you have what appears to be this. You could make a little smoother matte and put more time into it, but I'm making a tutorial so I'm just kind of buzzing through it without quality control too much. But yeah, just to give you a general idea. And then go to Add. You could do a classic color burn, but I like Add because it's a little bit more intense. And you can duplicate it if you want it to be even more intense. Duplicate it like 5 times. Not 5 times, obviously. That'd be utterly ridiculous. Alright, I do like 2 times though. Let's put the first one at an opacity of about, why not 70%? And then for the second one, put it at 50%. I'll get to that in a moment. Why? So Alt, click the stopwatch and add a wiggle function. So wiggle, parentheses, about 6 times per second at essentially 50, magnitude of 50. So you'll get a flicker, and it'll be already bright, but it'll just get from bright to brighter in that flicker stage. So let's go ahead and turn everything back on. Don't want to turn the heat haze on. Take that back. That'll always be on. Cool. Almost done. I like to add in a little bit of color correction. Control-Alt-Y to add in the adjustment layer and put it below the fire. Yes. And put it above the arms too, why not? Add a bit of curves to it. A little bit more contrast. I personally like to, I have Magic Bullet Colorista. It's not too expensive, so I like it. Do the classic, you know, turn the shadows to a teal color and the highlights to a orangish color. All movie style, Michael Bay, etc. He does do good action. You gotta give him that at least. At any rate. So yeah, that's pretty much good. You could refine it yourself. Now, as for sounds, I got my sounds from, ooh, it's a little too big. From the Free Sound Project, which is essentially an awesome website. That's about all I can tell you. You have to go check it out yourself. I just did a search for burning, because for fire apparently it's not as accurate as burning for sound, obviously, I guess. Found that out the hard way. So yeah, play different kinds of fire sounds, download them, and they're, you know, all free. Use them as you will. And, of course, have some sort of, like, burst, right, when it bursts into flames, and then have the classic burning whenever it's just here. Alright, now I'm not going to include this in the tutorial package, but I'll at least show you what I did for this last shot, because there's one effect here that I want to show you what I did, which was the heat haze effect for this shot. And the other one, I needed to have the heat before the fire erupted, but for this one, the fire is already there, so there's no animating you have to do for the heat haze. So what I did was, I literally just used, let's go to my effect controls. I used a separate displacement map for both left and right fires. As you can see, this fire, which, you know, I don't have included because it's just for the... It's offset due to distortion reasons, but it's placed. I just basically made the fire a little bit larger and used the entire comp of the fire as the displacement layer itself, instead of doing a big giant one that covered the whole screen. Mainly because it's just easier that way. It's already there, and it'll be more accurate to what's actually being burned, because the heated stuff is where the fire is, because the fire is hot, obviously. Yeah, that's pretty much all I did on this one. You'll also notice, and if you watch the preview for it, the fire is a different color in this one than the other one. That's probably my fault. I had already rendered it out by the time I noticed it, and I didn't want to go re-render it, because it was good enough other than that slight thing. The fires are different colors. It's a little orangish here, but that is because I actually had, when I was testing, I brought like a 2x4 and some paper towels, and like I nailed a thing too. I work in a fabrication shop, so this I had easy access to it. And I wanted to get the reflections of light off of her body to see like a more actual, like, accurate representation of what fire is, but it was way too bright, so I couldn't pick up anything. But it did give me a decent representation of what fire looked like in this setting, such as that. I'll go ahead and switch between the two. And now, I'm no colorist, so I'm not that good at emulating this fire look, but I tried to do my best, and while still having it, you know, look cool at the same time. Speaking of which, that's something I didn't do on the other video, is color correct the fire a little bit. It's a little oranger and a little less intense than the other fire I had. But I'll go back and do that real quick. Alright, as you can see, I have the fire here. I can completely turn it off and turn it back on. One simple thing that I did to kind of make it a little bit more realistic than just added, I added a curve adjustment. I kind of blew out the shadows here and took down the highlights. Just kind of made it a little bit more, instead of completely, whatever. I don't know. I messed around with this for a while making the video in the first place, just trying to see what color combinations work the best. Like, you know, this looks terrible right here. But that's the kind of thing that's for your own judgment. So you can test that out yourself. But yeah, at any rate, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you got something out of it. I didn't go over every single detail, but a lot of that is just personal choice and how you want it to be. Like I said in the first place, it's a lot easier to be on a non-moving thing. You can move it. You don't want to have it moving too much, so if you have your actor just kind of stay as still as possible, it'd be much more convincing, because if you're moving your hand like crazy, you're just going to end up with fire that literally moves like this. It's with no waves or anything. The waves don't propagate through the rising air and fire. So yeah, enjoy. See you guys later.